out-of-date food as abuse is this serious. It was more to it than the fact of the matter that my son and the other consumers had to pay a certain amount of money, and it wasn't. And I'm not going to tell you the amount of money that they paid, because it will come out, and we will be victorious. We really will. Let me tell you something else. It's not about money. It's about justice. I have a dog. His name is Shadow, and I love Shadow. If I keep something in my refrigerator too long, I don't even give it to Shadow. And he's my dog. And the people that pets ate that, poisoned that food that made them sick and killed them, rightly so. They should have gave him a settlement. They should have gotten a settlement. Now, you are saying to me, asking me about outdated food, what's wrong with it? That's why the grocery stores throw it away after the expiration date. And that's why when I go to the grocery store and I'm buying milk, I make sure I look way in the back and get my milk from the back, because I don't want the milk to expire the next day. There's a reason for expiration dates on the food. The food is no good, you throw it away. And if you're a person that knows about anything about food, you'll know that there's certain things that you just don't keep and feed a human being. My son is not an animal, and neither are those other consumers in that house, that was in that house. They're a human being. They paid for their groceries, and they should have been given fresh food. And they should not have been given Nutri-Grain bars. And I'm quite sure Dr. Lester Jackson, the dentist, is not going to put his reputation on the line to support me 100%, even to the fact that he drove me to Atlanta to make sure that I get the help for my son and the other consumers that I got. And Dr. Jamie D. Smith, he also helped me. Every day I had to get off my job. When they weren't giving them expired food, they weren't cooking for them. And I'm not upset with you. You asked the question, and now I hope and pray that I have answered your question in the way that it should have been answered. No one, let me repeat myself, no one should have to pay for their food and eat and be given expired food in the place. The food was bought, but the Sabbath people took it home. The Sabbath employees took it home, and they gave those consumers what they wanted. Sir or lady or whoever you are, one of the Sabbath employees calls me to that group home, and I went over there, and what I saw, the roaches crawling in the stale food behind the door, it made me sick. I would have not known it was spoiled had she not called me down there and showed it to me, and I still have some of the food at my house. So like I said, I hope I answered your question, and I hope I did not offend you in any way. And I most certainly appreciate you for not knowing that expired food can be harmless to your health. The second question was asked, why didn't I go to the NAACP? Well, I appreciate that question, because I went to the NAACP. I went to the NAACP more than once. The NAACP knew all about the abuse from SPD before it merged and became Scrampy or whatever you call it. The NAACP knew all about the police abuse. They knew about what Sheriff Al St. Lawrence did, but they did not do anything to help me, not one thing. Because as you wrote, Miss or whoever you are, you're absolutely right. It's the good old boy. If my friends are in office, you're not supposed to talk about what they're doing. Well, I beg to differ with you. I wouldn't care who's sitting in that office. I'm going to talk about what happened to me until the day I die. And as I state so many times, I'm not afraid to speak out on the injustice that's being heaped upon people in this city. No, they did not help me. And one of them had the audacity to tell me that I was being vindictive. Well, I would like for their son to go through what my son went through. And I would like for their wife to go through what I went through with that police department. And then I don't think they would think that I am being that vindictive. I am not a vindictive person. I am not a vengeful person. I do not have an evil bone in my body. I'm just a lady that believes in fighting for my right. And you talk about expired food and they talk about, yes, ma'am, the NAACP and how they marching tomorrow, the 21st, and talk about how Dr. King fought and how the civil rights. Well, you have people in this city with their friends in office that think that they own all the right. They have the golden rights, they have the civil rights, they have our rights. We have none. As long as their friends and their families and their friends and their family and their children are getting all the help and the right, then the hell with the rest of us. And pardon my choice of word, because it is Sunday, and hell in heaven. Hell, that's what I say. They don't care what or how people is treated in the city. And I don't care who is in that office. I want them to know that their friends not going to hard time me. Yes, I went to the NAACP, and like I said, I'm going to show you copies of it in a few minutes. Because, you have to be a lifelong member of the NAACP. And I'm not a lifelong member of NAACP, but I thought by going to them that I would get some help. And then this person even went so far to me as they asked me, what you want us to do? Fight your battle? We don't fight the battles. No, you didn't. I did not want him to fight my battle because he can't fight my battle. Because first of all, he's not Jesus. Jesus is the only one who can fight my battles, and he's always come back a winner. Remember, he is the one that destroyed Pharaoh and his army. So I don't have to rely on man. And I do not have to rely on that NAACP, because my father said to us once, there will come a time in your life, you might not be married, and you have to face the things, the cruel world. I want to teach my daughters how to step out of that lady role into that man role and handle your business and step back in that lady role. And I'm going to handle my business until the day I die. Because number one, I believe in Jesus Christ. And I did a CD on my little, how much I love Jesus, because I do. I want you to know, people, that my help does not come from me. It comes from Christ. And even Jesus was mad at the way Michael Elliott did those people in the house. That's why you're finding out about it now. Because everybody in Savannah thought he is Jesus. Just like the one that asked me about the expired food. Now, I'm moving right along. Let me get to the next question. Someone wanted to say, they found, well, this is the NAACP. They found it was hard that I would, them not help me at ACLU. Miss, I call all those people. You would not believe that the people that I called, over 40, close to 50 people, the people that I went to. And the only people that really helped me was Dr. Lester Jackson, the dentist, Dr. James D. Smith, and Mrs. Rose Campson is her name. It's not Cramson, it's Rose Campson. And they fired her because they knew she was doing the right thing. So it was a cover-up. And if it wasn't so bad, why would they cover it up? Now, my son, the question that was asked, why was my son in the group home at the first place? My son was in the group home, number one, sir, that whomever you may be, and they're speaking to the entire Savannah and others. My son was in the group home, number one, because he suffered a serious head injury. Well, it's a job-related injury. He stayed in a coma for 3 months, and it just didn't just happen. This is over the years. It's quite some years ago. But in the meantime, the question is this: you want to know why was he in there? He was in there because he suffered grand mal seizures. And I worked every day.